Welcome to Unbroken Arrows, Healing Through the Hunt. I'm Greg.
And I'm Catherine.
And I'm going to have to get used to that today because you weren't with us the last couple of days because you're at the Shields booth.
You stole my spotlight.
Yeah, it's just been Greg solo. So now I have to get Catherine back involved here. So I'm glad you're back in the booth, Catherine, with us. Appreciate it. We have a guest in our booth today from Pollinator Partnership, and it's Isabella Nazarian, and she is the Midwest partner biologist out of Columbus, Ohio. So Isabella, welcome.
Hi there. How's it going today?
It is going well. How's the show been for you?
It's been absolutely wonderful. It's my first time here at Pheasant Fest, so I've been having a great time. I was really excited to come. I've been expoing, holding the booth down all by myself, and I've gotten to talk to a lot of great people. Isn't
that the best part, I think, of an organization like Pheasants Forever and an event like the National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, the people that you meet? And just like for Catherine and I, we live here in Sioux Falls, but you're from Columbus, Ohio, and there are people from all over the country here, and that's wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. And everybody has been really, really warm and welcoming.
Nice.
Have you ever been to South Dakota before?
Nope, I've never been to this region of the country at all, actually, which is part of the reason why I was so excited to come and why I was pushing them to send me instead of somebody else. It's my first time at Pheasant Fest. It's my first time in South Dakota, so
that's awesome.
Nice. Well, I'm from Nebraska. Have you ever been to Nebraska?
No, I actually haven't been anywhere in what they consider the Great Plains region. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, and again, we're going to get to your pollinator partnership here, but one of the things I've been in education. I'm a retired educator, and it's amazing how many people don't travel maybe beyond 500-600 miles from where they are. Now, I know you've traveled over us. You've probably flown over
yes.
South Dakota before.
Flyover state.
That's right. We hear that. That's okay, and people do that. But, we have a huge country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so diverse, and it has such different landscape. And if there's anything that I would encourage anybody and everybody to do, is take the time to travel and get to know our country. It's beautiful. Everything has its own beauty. So
I remember in high school having exchange students in from other countries, and them being bewildered that I've never been out of the country before.
Right.
But our country is
all of Europe.
Yeah, there's so much to see.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
I traveled quite a bit out of the country when I was younger because neither of my parents are from the U.S.
Okay.
And so they prioritized visiting family and stuff elsewhere.
Sure.
I spent some time in Canada and Northern Europe and in the Middle East as well, but I had really only been to a handful of states until I got a little bit older, so now I'm trying to make a point to see as much as I can and spend time everywhere and try to spend time outdoors in all of the different regions to really soak in our different ecotypes.
That's right. Well, welcome to South Dakota.
Thank you.
So, Pollinator Partnership. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Pollinator Partnership is a really, really wonderful organization. I just started working for them in September, but they have been on my radar for a really long time because of just how much work they do in all different corners. We focus on pollinator conservation. It's really, really beneficial for our food system and necessary, obviously. Mm-hmm. And we do it through conservation, education, and research. So we have a little bit in every corner. We have some sort of program for any type of person, from large-scale industrial agricultural producers all the way down to somebody like me right now who's living in an apartment, doesn't have a lot to work with in terms of land. But we have resources out there for everyone and opportunities to take part in pollinator conservation.
So is part of the program also then community outreach, like to schools and to clubs and those kinds of things?
Yeah, absolutely. We have some people who run a variety of different programs. I do what I can within my position. We still do a lot of talks and classes with master gardener societies, schools, libraries, things like that. We have people who do all kinds of different outreach. We do have people who focus on some specific programs, though. Like, for example, we have a few different packages and programs for school. One is called the Be Smart School Kit, and schools can sort of apply to receive this package. and it has everything that the kids need to make a pollinator garden.
Nice.
And you had told me earlier before we started recording that you had started in September.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part been so far?
So far, it's just been, getting to meet all of the people that I've met. I was thrown in kind of quick, a lot of this job just depends on making connections, and I love working with landowners. I love working with people who are in conservation, and it's been my favorite. The personability side of it has been my favorite since I started in this field. I've worked in a variety of different landscapes, but I just love talking to people and seeing their eyes light up. And pollinators are so important on every landscape that there's an in for everyone. There's a reason for everybody to care, and generally it's pretty easy to find it.
Absolutely. The thing that is a reoccurring theme here for us as we have been recording podcasts. Yesterday we had a gentleman just down the road here, so to speak, in terms of where his booth is at, but they do prescribed burns. And that's so important to pollinator gardens in terms of, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the garden, but the plants that need to be pollinated, wildflowers, whether it's any flower, I guess, and grasses, same types of things. That restoration effect of fire, so all these connections of conservation. So we're dealing with pollinators, we're dealing with land habitat for the different animals, specifically here, pheasant and quail. But just in case there's somebody that's questioning what a pollinator is, what is a pollinator, Isabel?
Yeah, a pollinator is really any species who's moving pollen from one plant to another. It's not just insects, there are a variety. I mean, we're talking about bats, birds, bees, beetles. There's really tons and tons of
and that's exactly what I wanted you to say, because
of course.
People just don't realize that we are pollinators sometimes. Just when we walk through a particular area where there's pollen on plants, we could be spreading that pollen.
Definitely.
Deer, all the different animals. So yeah, it's an important thing too in terms of I can recall, and this has been quite a few years ago, and I'm talking maybe 30 or 40 years ago, and it's still a concern, bees. Oftentimes that's what most people think about are bees as pollinators, and they're a major pollinator. And when those populations are down, even your backyard garden struggles.
Yeah, for sure.
So
absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of focus on bees, and part of it is for good reason. Bees are very, very efficient pollinators. They utilize pollen as a protein source, and so they have a little bit more drive to have that direct interaction with pollen. But really, I mean, there are so many specialist species that require hummingbirds and bats and all of these other types of animals for pollination, and they still do a really great job at it. So we really need to open up our view of what we're considering and do some great work.
One of the most interesting pollinators that I like to observe is the hummingbird moth.
Yes.
And it comes out mostly at dusk at night, and people often mistake them for hummingbirds because they are a big moth.
Yeah.
But it's the same way. Their wings move so fast, and just like the hummingbirds do as well.
For sure. Though that's actually one of my favorites. I have a soft spot for moths, so and we have the.
I think they're kind of gross.
I love them. Have you ever seen the rosy maple moths before? They're pink and yellow, and they're very, very cute. We have some really cute ones in Ohio. We have quite a few moth species, and we get the clear wing hummingbird moths, which their wings are literally clear in the middle. It's like a picture frame, and they're very, very cool. Beautiful. They're special looking, but man, do they scare you when they fly by.
I bet.
They zip.
Oh my goodness. And did you start this right out of college?
No, I didn't. I have had I've had jobs in a few different directions since I started. So I started in conservation pretty early. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, but yeah, when I was in high school, I had a really, really great environmental science teacher. I mean, I grew up out in a rural area, and we had a little bit of land, about 8 acres of black walnut forest. And so I spent a lot of time out there and a lot of time hiking in parks and things like that. So I was interested in the outdoors, but when it comes to conservation work, once I was in high school, I went to Granville High School and in Granville, Ohio, and I had a really, really great environmental science teacher named Jim Redding. He does a lot of awesome work out there. But when we would have these projects, they were called action projects that we would do within the class as part of the class, and everyone had to sort of pick what project that they wanted to work on. And there was a group of us that got together, and we decided that the space surrounding one of the school buildings in our town, it was, I think, about 15 acres. They wanted to convert, we wanted to convert that to prairie from row crops. And so we converted it to prairie and we converted it to a wetland. There's 3 wetland pools on the first phase that I was involved with, and we got the Soil and Water Conservation District to help us, and we pulled in a lot of partners to assist us, and I was, I think, about 15 at the time, and so I learned some of the struggles really early on, going and talking, to the different boards and to the township and trying to convince people that this was a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. So that is where I started, and then I went to Ohio State, and while I was there, I got a degree in environmental science, and then I specialized in ecosystem restoration, and I did a little bit of archaeology on the side. While I was in college, I first got into conservation education because I would say when you're a young woman in conservation, it's a pretty easy in. You fit the demographic that a lot of people are imagining when they think about that. And so I worked at an arboretum near the town that I grew up in, and I taught conservation education, summer camps and classes to schools there and groups that would come by. And then after that, while I was still in college is when I got a seasonal job with Fish and Wildlife Service in Kodiak, Alaska. So I worked on Kodiak National Wildlife Refuge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
It was a really, really, really great opportunity. And the way that came up was that I wanted to study abroad and I didn't have enough money to. So I started looking for other places and seasonal jobs I could pick up to go visit a place that I just hadn't been. That seemed almost unattainable to me. It's really expensive to visit Alaska. And so, I got that job, and it was seasonal, and it was really great. I did a wide range of work. I helped with research while I was up there. I primarily worked as a conservation educator, so I taught kids from ages 3 all the way up to 16. I took them camping. I taught them how to fish. And this was also when I was learning how to fish and how to do these things. So I was learning alongside them, but I was teaching them, and I was in a whole new environment. So that was a really great experience, and I came back, and while I was still in college, I also started working for a honeybee research lab. So that was sort of my first step into pollinators. I took a beekeeping class, and then I ended up working in my professor's lab. And so when I worked there, I was in charge of doing a lot of the beekeeping for the research hives we had all over Ohio. I think we had well over 200 hives that I maintained. And I did my own research there too. I did floral surveys, things like that. And then after that, I went into private restoration. And I did private restoration work after I graduated for a year. And then I moved into this. So
very cool. You had a wide range of opportunities for sure.
Opportunities, experiences,
definitely. I feel very lucky. I think that in this field, it's sometimes hard to find a really secure job that's around for a long period of time. There's a lot of people who are fighting doing seasonal work year after year until they can land a more permanent position, but I think that the stars just aligned for me in the right moment, and I feel really lucky to have such a wide range of experiences because I think it's really set me up for success.
Very cool.
With the people that you've met here at Pheasant Fest and the Quail Classic this year, obviously they're asking questions about what they can do to enhance pollinator habitat. And we would encourage you to share this episode with your social media impact where you're at. So if somebody from that area I don't know if it's an area-specific type thing or if there's different regional offices or regions, but if they wanted to get in contact with you to ask more questions, to find information out, how would they do that?
Yeah, so you can visit our website. Our website is just pollinator.org. Everything that we have available to the public is housed on there. There's a lot of great spots to find guides and things like that. Or if you want direct assistance from somebody, you can go to our About Us page, and we have all of our team members listed on there as well as their contact information. We have some people in all different regions of the U.S., so you're probably likely to find someone who might be able to provide you some assistance. And if there's nobody specific to your region, then you can just find me and I'll point you to the right person or connect you to someone who can help you.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to make a challenge to you, Isabel, and I hope that we can meet again. I hope we can, visit again. And I want you to start a life list of states that you've visited, and I'm going to challenge you to visit all 50.
Yes, I would love that.
I'm trying to do that. I did get to I did get to Hawaii last year. I haven't been to Alaska.
I'll go with you.
Okay, we need to.
You should definitely get up there. There's a lot of great opportunities.
And I haven't been to Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
so
Ohio's quite nice.
Mississippi River West, I've been pretty much to every state, maybe multiple times, but
Yeah.
Mississippi River East, not so much. So,
Well, you said you were calling this a flyover state. Ohio is considered a flyover state as well, but there's some really beautiful areas. There's great fishing in Lake Erie, and if you go southeast, we're right in the Appalachian foothills. So
right. There's a lot of good hunting in Ohio. I hear and
absolutely.
read about that a lot. So anyway, Isabel, thank you for joining us this morning, and
of course.
I hope you had a great time in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
I did, and thank you guys so much for having me. It was so wonderful to talk to you both.
Yes, thank you. I learned a lot already.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back, on the microphone,
Yeah,
Catherine.
of course.
Missed you.
Got to balance you out.
That's right. You got to get me, keep me in line. So, thanks again, Isabel.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
thank you.